Hello. In this video, we're going to take a look at the General Fund Scorecard. The idea behind this report is to tell you throughout the school year whether or not you are over or underspending out of your general fund. In order to build this report, the first thing we did was collect 5 years of historical data from you to see how much you typically spend in each month. And then with this information, we create a predictive model that takes your current year's budget and splits it into 12 unequal parts for each month. And then we can compare that prediction to how much you actually spend each month. So looking at the report, this column right here, this month percentage, is showing you what percentage of your budget the model predicts you should spend in each month. So in this case, in July, the model is predicting that you should spend about 3.6% of your budget. The number over here, this projected, is simply your current year's budget times 3.62%. So this is 3.62% of your current year's budget. In this case, it is $20,777, which is how much the model is predicting you should spend in July. And then this number here is just the actual number that you spent in July. And so over here, we can see that this school spent $331 more than the prediction in the month of July. And if you spend more than the prediction, this number will be highlighted red. This row down below for August is showing that they spent $816 less than the prediction, which is why it's not highlighted red if you spend less than the prediction. It's important to kind of know that as you're looking at this report throughout the year, that you will see some red and some white, even if you are exactly spending within your budget. Obviously, the predictive model isn't going to predict exactly how much you spend, so you can expect to see some red and some white throughout the year. I think it's more important to look at when it is red, how much over the prediction you have spent. So it's more important to look at those actual numbers. The columns to the right show the same information as the columns to the left, just aggregated throughout the year for all of the previous months. And so obviously July being the first month of the year, the numbers here are going to be exactly the same as the numbers over there. But as you go throughout the year, this report goes through December. You can see that the predictive model is predicting that they would spend about 43.5% of their budget all the way through December. And so that 43.5% is just all of these numbers here added up through December. And then the same thing for the year-to-date projected 249,700-ish is just how much you'd be projected to spend in each month through December there. And then the actual expenditures here, the year-to-date difference, is that $96 just represents these pluses and minuses through December there. An interesting quirk of this report is that as you add data through it throughout the year, when you get to June, the 12th month there, the projected percentage is obviously going to be 100% of your budget. And so this number here just represents the number that you gave me as your budget for your general fund. The actual will be how much you spent for the year out of your general fund for the whole year. And then this difference, by definition, is going to be how much is left in your general fund. I'm sorry, this year-to-date difference here is going to be how much was left in your general fund at the end of the year, or if it's red, if you overspent, that would be how much you would have to transfer in to cover those expenditures there. Now, as we scroll down, the graphs down below, you can see this graph right here shows visually the prediction for each month throughout the year in the orange bars, and then your actual expenditures in the blue bars. Now you can see, based on this predictive model, that this school typically spends a much larger portion of their budget in May. So the model is holding back a larger portion of that budget for that month. And that's why it's so important to look at your expenditures in this way. For example, even though this school is halfway through the year, the model is predicting much less then half of the budget should be spent by this point. So this allows you to see much earlier in the year if you're overspending, and it gives you a chance to adjust. Now, the series of graphs down below gives a visual representation of how the model was built. Each graph shows for a single month 5 years of historical data in orange, and then the current month's actual expenditures in blue. So in this graph for July, the blue bar represents the actual expenditures, and so the height of that blue bar is this $21,108 there. And then the 5 orange bars before that are showing how much they spent in July in the previous years. And so you can kind of see if in actual dollars, if you're over or underspending from previous years. And so this one is showing in July there. You can kind of see here that in September, this blue bar, which is what they spent in September, which represents this $50,080 right there, you can see that that's higher than what they normally spend in September, and that's why the predictive model is saying that this school overspent by $2,600 more than the prediction. And so you kind of get a visual of how the model was built and where those predictions are coming from. Of course, next year, this predictive model will be based on the 5 previous years, and so next year, this bar is going to be taken into account in the predictive model, and then this bar for 17-18 is going to be thrown out of the predictive model. And so if your school's expenditure patterns are changing slowly over time, the predictive model will pick that up. It will adjust and create a new prediction each year. And so it will keep up with that. One important detail to note on this series of graphs at the bottom is that you can't compare the height of the bars between the months. So you can see that clearly this school spends more in August than they spend in July, but the bars in August are roughly the same height as the bars in July down below. That's because the bars in August are all relative to just August expenditures, and the bars in July are all relative to just July expenditures. And so you can't compare the height of this bar to the height of this bar. That's just something to note of those graphs down below. So that is the General Fund Scorecard. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly at milliganschooldata@gmail.com. Thank you very much.